Well, I didn't expect to be channeling as soon as I turned the camera on. Aloha, family. Today is Wednesday, September the 4th at 12 o'clock p.m. here on the big island of Hawaii. I did not expect to be channeling when I hit the record button, so everything happens in divine order. So I wanted to talk, or I want to talk about, or I'm going to talk about the ascension process that's taking place. And I want to talk about it because I know I see a lot of people talking about it, and there are a lot of you that are on the same frequency as me as far as upgrading and things like that. So a lot of people know what it is that I'm talking about, and I see what other people talk about. And I haven't done a video about it in a while, so I thought this was a great time to start talking about it. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it today, and particularly, just a second ago, I decided to share is because of the energy I'm feeling today. And I haven't felt energy like this in a while. I like purge collective energy, so sometimes I'll just cry like out of nowhere. And this energy is different. This is on like a different sensitivity spectrum. And it's been really wild lately. I got activated in 2000 and at the beginning of 2016. So I've had about 3.5 years of riding this wave of upgrading, and so I've definitely been able to study the feels and to memorize it all and things like that. So I've felt the waves of this taking place, and I've seen it happening to massive amounts of people due to this social media platform. Part of my program has been to like analyze the numbers to see the growth in these past few years, and it's been substantial. It's mind-blowing. And I've gone through waves of periods of being really activated and upgrading, and then on more leveled, like down, like not so much activity, to then like big spikes and then coming back around. And I see that when those big spikes happen, that usually it means that there's going to be like a new spectrum of humans being activated, because we're being activated at different times, different time frames. And when I say activated, I mean that the frequency of the earth is being raised, or that we are receiving upgrading frequencies from the cosmos, and that is upgrading the nervous system of our body. And so the body has to attune itself gradually to what's happening on earth. And I give a lot of gratitude that it is as gentle as it is, because it could be a lot stronger for us, and that wouldn't be good. So we should, give thanks up to the all, because, they're very kind. And so we are here to transmit these energies through our vessel. And we're activating others along this ascension process as part of the mission, the galactic mission for Earth. And so that's what's taking place. Some people call it Kundalini, chakras. We all have these terms for it, but it's actually the nervous system of the body with the endocrine system of the body, and which is our spacesuit. Like, I think that a lot of times we can forget that the body is actually this like divine thing that the soul and the other souls are hosted in. And it's a mechanism of communication, and our consciousness is attached to it so that we can interact and feel for specific reasons, or maybe non-specific reasons, but whatever. We feel things through our conscious thought. But the body is the vessel. This is the suit that is the antenna system of the channel of consciousness. And so today, I did not have a good night's sleep, or I shouldn't say I didn't have a good night's sleep. Sleep was not, it was a little rocky. I was sleeping pretty well for a while, and then these last few months, the sleep has been weird because at night when we sleep, that isn't only when the body repairs itself to the highest degree, but it's also when we step outside of the body and we experience the most upgrading because the consciousness has lived out so that they can really work on the body. One of the things that has come to my attention that I didn't quite realize in this fashion up until this last month is that I don't know about all humans, but some of us have teams of souls. Some people call them ETs, aliens, light angels, guardians, guides, whatever we want to call them. But some of us have a team of individuals, we'll say that, a group of collective souls that are working on the body continuously. I feel like most people do. It's really wild. They're constantly working on the body. And they talk to me now while they do it. Like, I'm not psychotic. I don't have, crazy things happening to me. I'm a level-headed, emotionally intelligent human being on earth that is incarnated. My soul has incarnated. My avatar has shifted out from the person I was before when I was not a conscious mind, healthy being. And so that's what's happened. And my avatar has shifted several times since I activated in 2016. And when a new avatar comes in, that means that there's some part of the stored memory, the subconscious mind, that has to level up with the avatar. So this year, what I mean is that my emotional intelligence has innately become very different, yet I've been shedding these old patterns of loop. I mean, I would even think in my mind a lot, like still do sometimes, like, wow, my emotional intelligence is way beyond this. Why am I going through this in my mind? And I was quickly reminded that my avatar, one of my avatars, jumped timelines back to me when I got activated to pull me up through timelines. And so I'm unifying more with this higher intelligence that I'm channeling, which just means it's coming through. I'm listening. We all do it. And so I woke up today, and after waking up a couple of times, and I just lay there. My brain was feeling very stimulated. My eyes were moving, just, in swirly patterns, and my frontal lobe and third eye was just going through it. And I was like, wow, and my body was just so tired. I just wanted to lay there. And so once I got up and got moving around, that's when I started to notice the sensitivity that, like, I've almost started tearing up like 5 times since I started making this video. See? And it's not because I'm upset. It's because there's it's because the suit, it's not even emotional. Like, you see me crying and you probably go, oh, but it's not even that. Like, it's literally the suit is attuning the nervous system to higher frequencies. And people that have really distorted thought processes that are still running really old programs, this kind of like this light purging I'm doing, where there's not any emotional connection or I don't have trauma associated with it, those types of people can. And it can make them angry. It can make them sad and depressed and think that they're schizophrenic and psychotic and all of these things, because this is literally changing our existence. And it's all about the body. The body purges through all kinds of different ways, through the digestive system, through sweating, through shakes, through tears, through laughter, through vomiting, through diarrhea, through all kinds of things. And the amazing thing is that when we clear out and we get attuned, it's like this whole other thing happens, and it happens to the psyche. So the psyche will purge itself along with all of this Kundalini awakening because the psyche is attached to the nervous system. And, we humans, at least I'll speak for myself, I wasn't dialed into all of this until I got activated several years ago. I was living a very different life. I was swirling around trying to let go of the addiction to alcohol and drugs to numb myself for reasons I didn't understand. And I was working a job that I didn't enjoy, making money to pay bills. And then all of a sudden I got activated and my entire life changed. And then I started channeling and started hearing all this stuff and downloads. And now I'm talking to all of you. I wasn't making videos. I wasn't on social media like this, So a lot of us are going through this experience at the same time, and more people are activating to it because it's happening around the planet through the cosmos. And so I like to share this because I find it's really important that when we realize what's happening, we can realize that we don't have to take this experience so personally, and we really get to dial in our own self-love and our own self-choices. And we aren't influenced as easily by other people, if at all. It's like this interesting thing of programming that we've been on this autopilot of what's been going on after generation, and that's not happening anymore. It's not happening. I wouldn't have this conversation with you if there wasn't a mass galactic Earth assisted, awakening happening. So it's a real thing. And it's literally upgrading the DNA of the body. If the brain is being, and the nervous system and everything is being activated and amplified, well, that literally means the cells in the body. It's a real thing that's taking place. You can research sound therapy and sound alchemy and tuning forks and things like that. And you can even look up medical sound instruments that are used in hospitals to blast kidney stones so people don't have to pass them. Sound is a healing tool, which is a vibration, a hum. And that's what we are, and that's what we're experiencing and have been for years. Years. There have been trickles of individuals through the years that have known about all of this that was taking place, and there's books that have been written, yet not to the masses like this. We have social media now. We have video. We have YouTube. So we're able to share all of this with each other, and that's why it's happening. Facebook is part of the collective upgrading consciousness if you haven't figured it out yet. It didn't just happen by accident. It's a tool for us to share what's happening. And it's interesting because I see it's part of it as far as the outside propaganda world also. Because anyone can put anyone on blast these days on Facebook. And to me, it's just, I don't really get into that. Energetically, it doesn't feed my soul to blast people on Facebook or social media or anywhere else. However, it is a tool that people are using to put people that are supposedly influential in our society on blast and things like that. The propaganda of the illusionary of the government and things like that are being disclosed for humanity to see. So everything is upgrading. Nothing is in chaos. Nothing is in crisis. Like, this is part of it, is the shedding. Not only are the humans shedding layers of old DNA, so is Gaia, Earth. Earth doesn't need humans. Humans need the Earth. And so I find that when we turn our heart inward, we share more in the vibration to create nutrition for ourselves and the Earth. We can feed it lovely things versus it having to work hard to regenerate itself like it's doing right now. That's why we're all shaken up. And so through this ascension process over the last almost 4 years for me, I have seen the waves of the way it feels in my body. the way it feels in other people's bodies, and the channeling and everything that has been taking place. And it's been beautifully, beautifully mind-blowing and astonishing, and I'm just marveled at this life that we are in now. And it's so spectacular. And so the most important thing I feel that we can do is to be mindful of ourselves and to be gentle through this process and to recognize that this is happening. And you may not be feeling it the way that I am and other people, yet we are all still in it together, and it's happening to the masses. And so the body's going through it. And, it doesn't mean, like, if you go around telling people this stuff that may not be dialed into that, they may not receive you. They may think you're crazy and all kinds of things. And that just means that that's not the person for you to continue to talk to, maybe. For me, I share it because for me, I already know my experience. So it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I share what I've been going through these last few years. And now here we all are together, that we all attract each other. And that's the thing. It's like you may feel like you're alone where you live. You may feel like you're alone in what you're going through, but we're all divinely placed in the ley lines where we're supposed to be placed. You're where you are, I'm where I am, all for specific energetic reasons that are galactic for the planet. It's really cool to recognize that it isn't just about this humanistic experience anymore. For me personally, I've been able to transcend past the old programming and hanging on to what other people say and their emotions so much easier because now I see the program. I see what's happening on Earth, and I realize, like, oh, they're probably just having one of those days like I have, but I tend to be more quiet and I'm aware of it. Not most, what's so crazy, this is why I decided to make the movie, because I was laying here thinking about how, and I thought about it this morning as I'm like rolling around on the bed trying to get my energy to shift, that the majority of humans on this earth have no idea that this is happening. That's what trips me out. Now, there's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people that know. But when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, and it's more than it was when I got started on this at the beginning of 2016, and it's going to continue. More and more and more and more and more and more people are going to wake up. And more and more and more and more and more and more people are going to die. Therefore, the old souls, that aren't in this spectrum are going to leave. So then there's just all of these awakened beings that are going to keep coming in and keep coming in. That's why the millennials, the 20-somethings and the teens and the babies that are being born these last 20 to 30 years have been coming in with the clear knowledge that some of us just gained in these last 4 years. It's amazing. I live in Hawaii, in Puna, which is one of the most galactic places I've ever been on Earth. I know that's why I'm here. And there's a lot of young people in human ages that are it blows me away. And so I've been able to see the galactic ascension taking place in a more compressed area living here in Puna because almost everyone talks about it, or almost everyone knows it's going on in huge ways. And this is the first time I've experienced that. I've been writing this whole time, just like meeting up with people from Facebook in person and making videos and sharing things. So to actually be in a community where people all know what's going on, it's like, wow, that's my inspiration for acquiring a large piece of land and growing a community so that I can invite people to come out and help integrate into what's happening so that they can, like a mystic school, a mystery school, so that they can learn their gifts, their light languages, things like that, and also be tutored and also guide through this process. Because more and more people are awakening, and I see how, and the other thing is too, is that I know it can look like there's a lot of chaos happening out in the world. And I can tell you that is part of this process. It is the old energies shifting out, and not everyone is going to experience the alignment of their avatar right now. They're not going to. And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because death isn't a bad thing. Coming back isn't a bad thing either. We like to joke about it because it does suck to be a human sometimes, especially when you have galactic emotional intelligence. But I love it. I'm loving to love my body more because I realize the more fine-tuned my body is, the clearer my channel, and energetically, the less it sucks energetically to be a human. More dialed into the body, like smoothies. Today's smoothie I made with jackfruit, bananas, a lemon, ginger, bee pollen, diatomaceous earth, and spirulina. And it feels good to me to know that like I'm giving my body things that it can easily digest and things that are going to enhance my brain and my nervous system and all the glands in my body, lymph nodes. If you studied the Tao, if you research Taoism, the most fascinating thing to me is that they have been writing books and living the life of longevity for a long time. They teach you how to create longevity as a human to experience what they call infinite life. And it's all about mindfulness. It's all about the food we eat, but they talk so much about the energetic exchanges in the body between the organs, the meridian, I almost said ley lines, the meridian lines, which are the ley lines of the body, and how all of it is associated with it and how to keep it clear to create longevity. I mean, if you think about it, if we did not count down the days of our death due to the years of our human life, we would live so much longer just with that reality alone. And then if we get dialed into the body itself and listen to it and what it needs, give it what it needs, not overeating all the time. Because did you know that when you're constantly eating, the body's constantly having to keep up to digest the food that you're putting in it? It needs to rest. And if you're eating all the time before you go to bed, during the time when your body's supposed to heal the most, it's processing food still. I didn't have these realizations before either. This is stuff I've come to understand, and I embody it more and more in my life. You know, I don't put myself in a box of having to be perfection, which means doing this wonderful thing all the time to myself, because nothing is wonderful and nothing is bad, right? It's just about energy, recognizing energy. And the greatest way to do that is listen to the psyche in here, what's going on in there, because we're actually listening in there. We're not thinking. And we're receiving thoughts from the web of dimensions and other humans and trees and plants and all kinds of things that we think are our own thoughts, but they're not. So that means like if you think about it like this, and this is the way I'm learning to indulge in my channel, because I hear voices all the time now, not voices, but I hear beings, souls talking, you know, the guides, or I'm tuned in with them now. And so I don't always hear things that feel good to me. And sometimes I feel like some of them play tricks to try to put like nasty things in my head. And it's gotten a lot easier. All of this started with me with the direct contact through voice in March of this year. I was channeling mudras and all this stuff beforehand. So I've been integrating a whole newness this year. I just haven't talked about it a whole lot. And so one of the things I realized is that if something is telling me something that doesn't make me feel good, I don't have to agree to it, right? Like if we hear good stuff going on in our mind and we're like, oh, this is so lovely, la la, I'm so happy, and we embody that and we embrace that because it feels good, right? Well, if the stuff that feels bad, then why do we embrace that stuff? Because we didn't have the awareness that we don't have to. And the thoughts can be a reflection of what's going on. If there are constantly swirling thoughts in there, that's because that are not feeling good, that's because that's the old programming. And there are entities which are the souls. We can call them entities, we can call them guides, we can call them aliens, we can call them all kinds of things. We'll call it source. I like to use source. When source is communicating in there, whatever source that is, a lot of the time, most of the time, it's based on the psyche, the awareness of the human. So for me personally, when I was not loving myself and I was not taking care of myself and going through all these physical things in my digestive system because I was eating food that didn't resonate with me and just going through all this body stuff, I was experiencing emotional trauma in my own psyche. And as I've been clearing that out for years now, over these last few years, I've really come into a place of being more connected with higher source. And then my avatar shifted in. So, I've seen the progression of my own experience, and I've been able to understand what's been going on. To as much as I understand, I know about this much. We don't really know that much. We just know innately a little bit about what's going on, and that's what I like to share. And I don't need a whole lot of information because when I know, and that's it. And I also leave myself the room to not know because knowing shifts by the minute. So I may be having a different conversation with you a year from now, but it'll still be about the same things because I've been talking about this stuff for years now, which is interesting. That's the thing that's been staying consistent. Yet my channel, my abilities, which is my nervous system, my antenna signal, has been evolving and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over the last several years. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is talking about this stuff. And I have for a while because I can't imagine what it must be like for people to go through this and they not know what's happening. And that's why a lot of people get labeled schizophrenic and they are giving a lot of drugs and all kinds of different things. And so much can be shifted with sound therapy, sound tuning. That's been one of the things I started using right after I first upgraded. And now I know it's because it's helped the dopamine levels in my brain to keep my serotonin and dopamine and oxytocin and all of this in alignment, helping it to stabilize. Just like with the cannabis oil I've been making. I started making the cannabis oil and got the tones right at the same time 3.5 years ago. And that's been helping me. And I stick with the sound the most because that helps me a lot. I don't need the cannabis to do it or anything like that. However, there are these tools that we can bring in that are healthy for the body that does help us ground, that does help. And it doesn't have to be THC. CBD is wonderful for this too. It's super regenerative to the body. It makes the cells regenerate at higher levels, which means expansion of the DNA. The same thing that this Ascension energy is doing. It's really cool. Reiki, energy healing, tuning forks, sound bowls, high vibrational food, all kinds of things. These are all tools, herbs, crystals. All of these things are not just woo-woo. Like they really do have an energetic effect on the body, which can help balance, clear, and expand. And we don't need any of that stuff. We can do it with our own mind, yet it is nice to do that. It's much better than turning to alcohol or doing drugs and things like that because we just can't handle it when it's like, whoa, let's think about things that help the body to assist with the energies that are coming in versus creating more distortion. And so I go through different energy cycles every day. And the integration process for me has been really trippy. And, especially in 2016, I activated with the awareness that I was a contactee, which means a galactic avatar that integrated into this body. And then the source started upgrading my body physically, feeling it all the time. And my psyche was just pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring out. And I was leveling up so fast, going down the rabbit hole and just feeling like I was losing my mind because I was, thankfully. My program's being rewritten, just like so a lot of yours. And so, but I innately had that information, and not everyone does. And that's what's so wild to me. So when I got activated and all these downloads and stuff started coming in, that's when I got programmed to open my Facebook page from private to public. I had 325 friends, and it grew fast. Fast. I saw how fast it happened because that's how fast it was happening to me. And it threw me for a loop, and it still does sometimes. Even with, emotional intelligence, heightened awareness, whatever we want to call it, I still go through it because I'm attached in the web of other people's thoughts. And I'm going through the old programming that's shaking itself up out of my own DNA, parasite cleansing, heavy metal cleanses. All of that stuff is so important. If it resonates with you, it feels very important to me. And that's what I've been doing. It's removing brain fog and all types of things so that I can hear clearer. It's so amazing how I've been able to just like get more dialed in with hearing now. And so I like to share this with people because I see a lot of jokes, and there's all this like new age you know, spirituality things and all of this that comes out, and people like to poke fun at each other, and that's all, whatever. I don't judge. People can do whatever they want. However, I can tell you that all of this is like happening, and it is fun to be light about it. And I find it's easy to be kind and compassionate to others that are going through it, because we're all going through it one way or the other because we're in the suit. We're in the vessel. And yes, Candace, I realized the other day that I was walking around thinking about the money aspect of humanity and thinking about the service part of humanity. And I've been very dialed in with my masculine a lot in my life. I can do business very well. And yet I've been in service most of my life in these ways that I've noticed. I mean, I worked in food and beverage for almost 20 years. So I've seen that I've been in service. And so the other day I was walking around and it came into my mind. It was like, oh yeah, I am in service of other people, just like so many others are. And it's so beautiful when we can actually help each other out and ask for help sometimes. Like, we don't have to be hard. We don't have to put up this front anymore, unless you want to, whatever. It doesn't matter, but we don't have to. Like, I find that being gentler has just like been so much better for me energetically. I don't fight with humans like anymore, or as much at least. Arguing and anger is something that is rarely in my field these days, like recently. Anger is something that I don't like to display. I don't like to feel it. I don't like to be frustrated, and I certainly don't like to spew it onto other people. So I'm dialed in with how I feel in my solar plexus. And if I feel myself starting to feel something, or angry thoughts start to come into my mind, and I'm like, whoa, time out. What is this? Let me process myself without having to feel anger. And then I slip into this place of gentleness and compassion with myself. And then I don't have to be angry with other people. And then it's more fun. A lot of people are being hospitalized because of this. Their nervous system's being really rattled. A lot of people think they're losing their mind because of all of the mental stuff that's happening to them, and they're connecting to these higher realms and don't realize that their channel's opening up. It's a real thing. And so I give a lot of gratitude every day for the awareness that I have, so that because I know that not everyone has it. And it's hard some days. And I feel like I haven't been able to schedule a lot of things because I don't know how the day's going to feel. And uh, I want to schedule things more. I want to do retreats and see clients and things like that. And so I find that every day I am learning to be gentle to myself more and more, and not pushing myself to have to do anything if I don't feel up to it energetically. And that's been a big thing for me because I've before in my previous life, in this lifetime, before being activated, I was very social, life of the party, that kind of personality, always making people laugh and feeling yummy. And I still do those things. I just don't do them as much. And it's not a personal thing, so I don't take it personally with my own self or feeling guilty because I'm not doing this thing or that thing. And I find that explaining it to people um, helps, letting them know that I'm riding a strong energy wave, and sometimes I feel up, and then sometimes I'm in a quiet, more lower place vibrationally. And I find that they're very understanding. Whether they experience it or get it or not, it really helps to explain things. And if they don't get it, then that's okay too. At least I spoke what I felt was important, because I'm empathetic. I'm an empathetic person. And so I do care about other people and I feel other people's energy, yet at the same time, the dial's this way, so that I can be better for myself and other people. So I can be in a higher vibration of service to others. Sometimes I wonder if this process of upgrading is going to cease, if we're on some kind of a cycle, like a 7-year cycle, or something like that. And and I think that because it's intense, that the upgrading process at times it really can be. And um, this year marks the 7-year anniversary since 2012, which was the shift of the Mayan calendar. So this year ends a 7-year cycle. And then I keep hearing about another 7-year cycle that ends in 2027. So I'm interested to see how 2020 is going to be, moving in um, to the next 7 years. It's The brain is so amazing, and it has so many receptors. If you think about the antenna receptors of the brain, and it's this, massive antenna signal plus everything else, all the glands and organs and everything in the body. Um, and with this ascension energy, that's why a lot of people are getting all these downloads and new information, and um, sending and receiving more because it's higher intelligence. The brain is actually working at an enhanced vibration as well as the body. So it's regenerating itself much faster. So, of course, there's going to be higher intelligence. The body's cleaning out. It's connecting more to source and the energy of the gravity field that we're in on Earth, which is the web of the cosmos. And so we're picking up signals. And as the brain stimulates more and more, the body does as well. Like at the beginning of 2017, I won't forget the day that it happened. And I was listening to a diamond crystalline guided meditation. I usually don't listen to guided meditations. And this one specific period, I was listening to a bunch of them. And I still have it. And I share it with people. It's amazing. I'll put it in the comments for you guys. It says diamond crystalline for women, but it's for everyone. And I listened to it multiple times on different nights. Well, the first time I listened to it, it activated my eyes. My eyes started moving on their own. And they haven't stopped since then. So my eyes have been moving for 2.5 years on their own. Now you can't see them if I come up close, but if you stand up close to me and I close my eyes, you can see my eyes moving under my lids and you can feel them also. And that's probably been one of the most amazingly wild experiences that I have gotten used to, that I had to like really work to be used to that. Um, and sometimes it still gets like, but they move in circles and in figure eights and all kinds of different patterns depending on the energy that's coming in. And that's because at the back of the eyeball, there's a nerve that connects to the brain over here, to the midbrain, which is where the pineal gland is, and all of these other amazing things that get stimulated through the brain with the energy. And the pituitary gland and my third eye swirling. My eyes and my third eye have been the wildest thing for me. How it swirls so much. Just I sit and I feel it swirling and swirling and swirling and swirling. And then sometimes it's really deep swirling where I can feel it go like all the way into my brain. And that can be a little bit painful. Well, that swirling affects the frontal lobe of the brain. And if you research the frontal lobe of the brain, you can get more information about what controls are in the frontal lobe. A lot of the emotional stuff is there. And so, sometimes that can put me in like this like dreamy state, or, just all kinds of different feelings. And it's because my antenna signal, for some reason, my specific vessel is experiencing this process, and I'm super activated. And yeah, it's trippy. And so I feel my chakras, the different point, the auric field of the body that integrates in with the body. Every cell is a chakra, the entire body. But we do have specific organs and specific places that do specific things with the brain and the nervous system and all of that. So that's where all that comes from. And Kundalini comes from the base of the spine, which is the sacrum, which is the battery pack of the spine energy. So if you like get past all of like the spiritual aspect of it, or not get past it, but if you look at the spiritual aspect of it and look at the body aspect, you can really start to understand a lot more about what's going on and what's being experienced. Like I say, I don't have tons and tons of information. I don't spend my time researching or studying very much. I get the information I need because it feeds my channel to let me know innately. It's like these little symbols of things. And so that's what I realize is happening. And I feel it on a daily basis and have for a long time. So I like to remind myself and other people to be gentle, like when we're gentle to ourselves, even if we don't feel the physical feelings, but we're experiencing it in our psyche, the brain's feeling distorted and maybe we're a little cloudy and we don't really know what's going on. And well, that's part of the energy. And then some days, when you feel really good and you're like, yeah, I have all this energy, let's do it. And then the next day you're all quiet. You don't know why you're sad because you're not really sad. And oh, well, that's part of riding the wave. We are governed by our solar plexus. That's where we receive so much energy in this area right here. And it disperses from there throughout the body, and it changes. The moon switches into a different frequency every 2.5 days. And if you've ever been dialed into that, you will know that you ride those feelings. I was hardcore dialed into that, and I've shifted out of that a lot. Sometimes I'll think, ooh, what moon are we in? Just like today, I was like, what moon are we in? And as soon as I looked, I saw that we had just shifted out of Scorpio, which is my moon, which is awesome for me, and shifting into Sagittarius, which for some reason lately it has caused a lot of distortion for me. And so, I'm more present with my own self than versus having to look to see what else happening in the sky. Yet it does play a huge role. So it does help to recognize what's going on a galactic level. And doesn't mean you have to be locked into it the whole time, yet it does give a compass. It helps to understand a lot more. And so then we can nurture ourselves and to ground out our own energy and be patient and kind to ourselves. That's the biggest thing. I see so many people holding on to anger and, programming of the past, and having to prove a point for some reason. And that's all fine. I understand that it is part of the psyche process and no one has to do anything they don't want to. Yet I find it really is a lot more easier for me to be in a more gentle state. So that's why I encourage people to be gentle and realize that we don't have to take it all so heavy, and that it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks or feels at the end of the day. So why keep fighting that? To prove a point of what? It doesn't feel good to hurt other people. For me, it doesn't feel good to poke fun at other people and things like that. I laugh at stuff, but for me personally, even sarcasm isn't fun to me anymore. It's like, and it's not, I say to me, it's not even that personal. Since I've gotten activated, I've been tuned into vibrations of feels of words and energy coming from people. So when I mean feel, I mean on an energetic level to my vessel, not to my humanistic, judgment of a psyche, because that's not it. Just know that you're not alone. And there are lots of us that are going through all of this together. Um, and I answer questions when I'm asked, and I'm here for you, through this, because I know it can be so vulnerable and so wild and so just like really cosmic that it can feel tough. It really can, especially because of the process of elimination that happens. It's part of the regeneration cycle for, your families, to not understand you, for your coworkers to not understand you, for your partners, for your friends. You may, not be associated with any of those people anymore. And it's not because of anything other than vibration. Your attunement to the galactic cycle is no longer of resonance to their energy in their body. So on a molecular structure, electrons and all of that stuff, it's going to cause a separation. Law of attraction. Our energy pulls us in specific places. So that's what it is. And it's because, we wake up to all of this illusion, and then we want to tell people, and we expect other people, I think subconsciously a lot of the time, to get us for what we're saying, to understand, to receive us. And it's not a personal thing. It's just in this moment in time, their psyche isn't ready for it, or it would be happening to them too, just like it's happening to you. So that helps with a lot of the recognition that friends spiral in and out, and sometimes they come back and they don't, just like family members. And it's a vibrational thing. It's not personal. It doesn't have to be personal, I should say, because it's energy. And I've seen it with myself along this path for sure. And I've learned who to talk to and when not to talk, because it's exhausting to go around and try to, get a bunch of people to believe something that they're not open to believe. And it's not because they're bad, and it's not because they think you're crazy. It's just because it's their psyche. They haven't been activated yet. Thankfully, I have, and some of you have. So we're out of that spectrum of illusion to some regard. I mean, we have awareness in new areas. And so that's all it is. It's all knowledge. It's not because anyone's, a sheep, or, just, I have a thing with poking fun at people. So I almost just went there again. So anyway, it's to understand that people have different programming. And, a lot of people were living cookie cutter lives and doing all of those things before they got awoken also. So, Yeah, out of the fog of the dream. That's right, Jake. Like, the fog has been cleared for some of us. And I find instead of like making fun of other people for not having that, I like to share what that is so that they can. Compassion, ego. Compassion, ego. Well, I mean, it's all ego, but it's just about the type of alignment. Some of it's funny, and I giggle too. I just, but I realize that what kind of process that this is past the poking fun and the humor, like it really is a real thing. And I have compassion for people, and um, and I like to help. I like to help. So, yeah, that's part of what I wanted to talk about today. Um, Talking about it has helped me feel better. I still feel a lot of swirling here, but energetically I feel more balanced. So, riding the wave, it changes multiple times a day sometimes. And solar flares are happening right now, which is interesting. Some of you may have seen the posts that I've been sharing of the coronal holes. Coronal, I don't know if I'm saying that appropriately or not, but um, the sun will open up, and when it's facing the earth, it blasts energy. Because I feel as though the sun is really the portal. That's some in true way. That's why there's fire around it, because you got to be pretty special to get in there. And it's sending cosmic waves of upgrading to us. And that's what solar flares are. I remember in 2016, 2017, there were a lot of solar flares happening. And I haven't been dialed into it or seen much about it or anything like that until recently. And I felt the pull not that long ago to download an app on my phone. And I had it for a month and didn't really check it very much until last week when I started getting messages popping up on my phone about the holes opening up facing the earth and then all the solar winds coming in. And I don't know if you felt them over the last few days, but I sure did. Over the weekend, it was so crazy. The last 2 days were much more chill and then sort of dialed back into it a little bit today. So I was appreciative of the break. And that was really wild. I woke up multiple times a night rocked, just like my head and my eyes were moving so much. My body, I mean, it was crazy. So I just like lay there and finally fall back asleep, finally. And so I know it's really strong energy right now. And so I'm sharing light, putting some light onto what's happening so that we can integrate with ease and be more easeful to ourselves and to others because it makes such a huge difference. At least I feel like it does. I'm not speaking for anyone else. So thank you for connecting and sharing love. And I'm so grateful that we're connected with each other. That's what's been the most phenomenal thing to me throughout this whole process is seeing the amount of growth that's happened, the amazing, amazing beings that I have met in person and I am now connected to and call my brothers and sisters. It's amazing. I didn't have this kind of family life growing up, and now I call you my family, and you call me your family, and it's beautiful because we are bird tribe, soul family, and um, we're channeling the ancestral energy in, and the tribes are coming back together because this is the galactic ascension. I love you to the moon, family. Take it easy on yourself. Listening to binaural beats help. 852 hertz, 528, 432. Gamma rays, by the way, are the DNA upgrade waves. Talk soon.